Okay, picture this. It's late 2025. The company that basically defined generative AI, OpenAI, is suddenly on the ropes. A company that seemed completely untouchable is now facing a massive threat from a competitor that's not just gaining ground, but going viral and pulling away millions of users. The response from inside OpenAI? It was fast and it was serious. A company-wide CodeRed. This is the story of that high-stakes counterattack, a battle for the future of the market fought with algorithms instead of armies. So, let's break down how this AI war was fought and what it means for all of us.
For years, this has kind of been the holy grail, right? AI could make some really cool, sometimes beautiful, sometimes just plain weird pictures. But if you were a professional, someone who needed consistency and speed and actual control, it was always a bit of a struggle. You might get one great image, but could you ever get it again? Could you just change one tiny detail without the whole thing just falling apart? That gap, right there, that was the gap between a cool toy and a real tool.
And yeah, that gap, someone was about to drive a truck right through it. Inside the walls of the industry leader, alarm bells were going off. A memo from CEO Sam Altman basically put the entire company on a wartime footing. Timelines got accelerated and it was an all-hands-on-deck emergency.
So why? Why the sudden, massive panic? What could possibly have a giant like OpenAI so completely spooked? Well, the answer was a rival that had absolutely caught fire.
All right, this is where we get to the heart of it. The launch of OpenAI's new model wasn't just some routine product update. No, this was a direct, carefully calculated counterpunch in a battle for the entire future of creative AI.
So let's just set the stage for a second. For designers, for marketers, for creative agencies, AI was this powerful new thing, but it wasn't a reliable tool yet. Trying to get consistent characters for a storyboard, or accurate product shots for an ad campaign, or even just getting readable text on an image, it was a total roll of the dice. It was amazing for inspiration, but man, was it frustrating for actual production work.
And then this happened. Google's latest model, which had the internal codename Nano Banana Pro, started to go viral. And I mean viral. It was pumping out these stunningly hyper-realistic images that were not only capturing everyone's imagination, but more importantly, they were starting to look like a serious professional tool. It had a level of consistency that other models just couldn't touch.
And we're not talking about a small bump here. The numbers were just staggering. Fueled by all the buzz around Nano Banana Pro, Google's Gemini user base exploded. They added 200 million people in just 3 months. That is the kind of number that makes any CEO declare an emergency.
And that's exactly what happened. See, a CodeRed in Silicon Valley, it's not just a strongly worded email. It's a fundamental shift. It means product roadmaps get torn up, release schedules are thrown out the window, and everything gets accelerated, no matter what it takes. It's a signal that your very survival is on the line.
So backed into a corner, with their market leadership under direct assault, OpenAI unleashed its answer. This wasn't just an update. This was a reassertion of dominance, engineered from the ground up to neutralize the threat from Google and take back the throne.
And this right here, this shows you the immediate impact. On independent, user-driven leaderboards like Ella Marina, which is where people basically vote on which model's output is better, GPT-Image 1.5 instantly shot to the #1 spot. It leapfrogged right over Nano Banana Pro. The counterattack had landed. The technical lead was, for now at least, restored.
Okay, so how'd they do it? What was the secret sauce? Well, it wasn't just about making prettier pictures. They built their entire counterattack on 3 core weapons designed to solve real-world problems for businesses: speed, control, and reliability. First up, pure, unadulterated speed. GPT-Image 1.5 generates images up to 4 times faster than the last version. Now, this isn't some minor tweak. This is a fundamental change in how you create. What used to be a 30-second wait is now under 10 seconds. And that kind of speed, it changes everything. It means you can blast through dozens of ideas in the time it used to take to get just a few. Your creative flow doesn't get interrupted every 30 seconds. And for businesses using the API, it means much lower costs. It makes creating a ton of images not just possible, but actually practical. This gets to the absolute core of OpenAI's strategy. They made it a really important choice. They decided not to chase the prettiest picture market, which is kind of dominated by style-first models like Midjourney. Instead, they went all in on winning the war for business. They built a reasoning-first model. They're betting that the future isn't just in art, but in plumbing. The boring, super reliable infrastructure that thousands of companies can build on top of. Okay, weapon number 2 is control. This model finally solves that thing that drove everyone crazy, the reinterpretation problem. You can now tell it, change the character's shirt from blue to red, and it will only change the shirt. It preserves the face, the lighting, the background, everything. With a reported 90% compliance rate, it actually does what you tell it to do. And that, right there, is the key that unlocks real consistency. For the first time, you can create a character or a brand mascot and reliably use them across an entire ad campaign. You can change their pose or the background without them suddenly looking like a different person. For any commercial work, this is an absolute must-have.
And the third weapon? It tackles one of AI's oldest, most annoying weaknesses, getting text right. For years, trying to get AI to generate clean, readable text on an image was basically impossible. Well, GPT-Image 1.5 makes a huge leap forward here, producing crisp lettering that you can actually use for stuff like ad mockups and social media posts. And the cool thing is, they've basically given us the instruction manual on how to do it. To get the best results, you've got to be specific. You put the text you want in quotation marks, tell it the font and color, and tell it exactly where to put it. You do that, and you can create visuals that used to require a graphic designer and a whole different app.
But look, speed and control are only 2 prongs of the attack. OpenAI's final move was a direct hit on the economics of AI image generation, and it was designed to make this new model completely irresistible.
Just take a look at these numbers. This is the official API pricing. The old standard, DALL-E 3, was 4 cents an image. Now you've got options. Sure, you can pay more for maximum quality, but the real game changer? Look at that low quality tier.
Yeah, this chart just makes it impossible to ignore. The new low-cost option for just drafting ideas is less than 1 cent. It's over 4 times cheaper than the old standard. This completely changes the math for any company that creates visual content.
And that's the thing you have to understand. This isn't just a budget option. No way. This is a market penetration strategy, pure and simple. It's designed to grab massive amounts of users and make it really, really hard to justify running your own open source models when you can get this kind of quality for less than a penny an image through an API.
Okay, so we've got speed, we've got control, and we've got insane pricing. What does that actually look like for the people doing this work every single day? Let's talk about how the professional workflow is being completely transformed.
The new workflow is, honestly, it's brilliant. First, you just crank out dozens of contexts using that super cheap, super fast tier. Then, you pick the best ones and use those new precise editing tools to tweak and perfect them. And only when you're totally happy do you spend the money to render out the final, high-quality version for production. You're going from gambling to a structured, efficient process.
So who wins in all this? Well, the list is pretty long. Marketers get consistent branding and can create localized ads in minutes. Designers can prototype photorealistic app mockups in an instant. Creative agencies can slash their project timelines and get client revisions done faster than ever. And for just everyday ChatGPT users, it's like having a simple creative studio built right in.
All right, let's zoom out for a second and look at what this really means. Because this whole thing, this whole CodeRed scramble, it's a turning point for the entire AI industry. You know, the era of AI images being just a fun, weird novelty, that's over. It's done. We have officially moved into a new phase where the market is demanding production-grade tools. It's not enough to be surprising anymore. Now models have to be reliable, controllable, and efficient. AI image generation has finally graduated from a toy to a tool.
And what that means is the real competitive advantage for companies now isn't just having the tech. It's all about the speed of adoption, how quickly you can actually integrate these faster, cheaper, and more controllable tools into your daily operations. We've covered a ton of ground here, from corporate warfare all the way down to the nuts and bolts of a new creative workflow. If this explainer helped you make sense of this crazy shifting AI landscape, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more breakdowns just like this one.
And that leaves us with one last, really big question to chew on. Now that AI can handle the technical heavy lifting of creating professional visuals with this kind of speed and precision, what does that mean for us? What becomes the new most valuable role for human creativity in this new world? It's a question I think we're all going to be answering very, very soon.